Hi, everybody. Welcome back. It's June 24th, 2021, and it's really hot here in Western Washington. We're not used to this kind of heat. We actually have some triple digit heat coming up, and that's just really weird for around here. Today, we're going to be looking at Titan, and Titan is one of the moons of Saturn, and it's a fairly good sized moon. It's actually about a third the size of our moon here, and there's a couple things about it that are unique. One is that it's one of the only heavenly bodies that we know of that has a thick atmosphere, and they tell us it's I think it's supposed to be 98% nitrogen, and also one of the only bodies, heavenly bodies that has stable lakes on it. So this is a picture of the moon here, by the way, just kind of comparing the two a little bit. Then they're not really, sized up the same. As I said, the Titan was about a third larger. This is a satellite picture here, and it's a little unusual because it's kind of a close-up picture in a way, and it's not that great of a picture, but it's not a very wide area, so it's taking a kind of a close-up picture, and you got a pretty good view of all these different structures in here. And Titan is just like Venus. It's just like Mars so far. Um, well, nothing's just like Mars. There's too much weird stuff there. But if you look at the structures that we're talking about, they are the same. They're the same everywhere you go. They're all either cubes or rectangular shaped. They always are more or less about the same size. Sometimes there's some bigger ones mixed in. I got the bright part toned down on this picture here, and you can really see the dark structures in there where you couldn't see before, and the white structures, which were completely bleached out in the brightness. So you can see how they're put together. Everything else is wiped out because I had to turn up the contrast so high. And of course, this is the way that picture started. So you can see what I had to do to be able to get in there and see that stuff in the bright area there. But yeah, all the buildings are the same. And so now we're talking Mars, Venus, and now Titan. And where should we go next? I'm open to suggestions. I think wherever we go, wherever we have a hard rock, shall we say, to walk on, we're going to find the very same structures no matter where we go. They're all the same. The buildings are all the same. I'm saying it's probably all the same people, too, right? Why should we have such different races between Mars and Venus and Titan and other places around? This is a kind of a cool picture. You can see the buildings in the background. There's some pretty large black ones, or we'll call them dark, actually, not necessarily black. One of the things that we've seen differently on Titan is they have these buildings. I think there's a picture coming up. They're kind of elongated, usually a light colored type building, and they have these long black, I'm assuming they're windows. So when you and the point of this is that I'm always looking for a different kind of building, something that sets them apart from everyone else or all of the other ones. And in this image here of Titan, there are some structures, like I was saying, that have what appear to be very long, dark windows. So that would be something that is, I have seen that on rare occasions on Mars, one or two structures here or there. Here on Titan, there's a few more of those types of structures. I know it's got to be coming up. Here we go. So we're on the right hand side of this picture here, and you can see the long black stripes. Well, those are elongated buildings that appear to have this black, I'm assuming it's a window to, who knows how many people live inside there. Now, if those aren't windows, then maybe they're the open garage for flying your saucer in. It sounds kind of stupid, but I'm sure they got them. I mean, they've been around a long time. So you don't build a society like this and not have some really huge technological advances, right? So, and like all the other places, they build in rows. They build with buildings that are all similar. And one thing that seems a little different, another thing that seems a little different on Titan is some of these structures, they're small, they're the same size, and they seem to pack more in one place, if that's even possible. Like I said, I don't even know if that's possible, but it kind of looks like it sometimes. Now, this is a really unique picture. This is a radar picture. This is a picture taken by radar, and they're calling it a Titan radar swath. And it looks like all the other pictures, really. But there is one big difference, and that is what you see at the top of this picture. See at the very top there where the whiteness meets the image? So this is a radar picture, so that means that it's getting a radar signature from these structures along the top, and so it points out the structures along the top. I mean, isn't that amazing? I've never seen this before. I've gone on to see there's a couple of radar pictures that they have in the archive that has these kinds of buildings along the top there. I just think that's so incredible looking. You see a stripe going from left to right where it's extra heavy contrast, where it's a little brighter and a little darker. It kind of goes from left to right. You can see it in this picture better. Now, it's some kind of a defect in the picture, but in that defect, it's very high contrast and brightness in that some of those structures are actually a little bit clearer than anything that I can do. And I guess that would probably be pretty easy. We try to do everything I can to get contrast. That's what this is all about, is so you can see one building from the next. But we've seen this type of thing before, right? On Venus and on Mars, where there's just gazillions of buildings. They're all tight together. Everything's black and white. It's really, really tough to show. I think maybe I'm going to go back to Mars again and look at some of those incredible dunes. Those are really, really beautiful, amazing structures. And, after looking at Venus and now this picture of Titan, everything's the same. Man, in black and white, and when it's at a distance, it kind of looks like oatmeal. Hopefully, though, if you've been watching my channel, and hopefully the big hope is that you have a bigger screen than a phone, you would be able to see. If you've never seen this on a big screen, you should find one and watch it, because you will then be looking at huge numbers of structures on Titan. And you just can't see it on your phone, unfortunately. And these lines that they have here on Titan are similar to what we see on Mars with the many, many dunes that are lined up. They're not exactly the same. They don't seem to be as tightly packed or as large as the dunes on Mars. But they are rows of many, many structures. Why they build them like that, who knows? There's just no way to know that. Again, the buildings along the top there, I just find that so incredible. So it's another one of those places that there's no place to go. I mean, it's just so such high population density. And why is that? I mean, they have high population density. I guess every hard surface in the solar system is the same. I guarantee you that it is. I'm going to do my best to show you a few more places. But it's all going to look just like this. And so the question is why such high population density? Why would you want to pack them in like this? Maybe there's only a couple answers. One of them might be, first of all, that when they started doing this, how many hundreds of millions of years ago, it wasn't as dense as this. But time has gone by, and they just keep adding and adding and adding. And I suppose at a certain point in the past, they went out to, some moons and some large asteroids and built there too. In the meantime, there you can see that stripe again. That's again a photographic issue with, I suppose, the satellite that took the picture. Yeah, I've lost my train of thought. But they have so many places that are like this that you gotta wonder why. Is it because they ran out of space and they just started going from one to the next, one hard rock to the next, and then they just started building deep? For sure on Mars, for sure on Titan, it's a very thick mat of buildings that they built on top of each other. I haven't seen anything yet on Titan that would prove that to be true, but no reason why it wouldn't be. Just because everything is the same. I remember a few videos back I was saying, how many cities you want to see? 2 this week, 2 next week, 2 next week. No! We don't want to see that many. It's all the same. Thank you. It's there. I see it. It shouldn't be there. But the pictures do get a little monotonous. Went back and looked at some of my videos about the buttes, and it was so comforting to see all that color again. It's really tempting to go back and find something there. And the pictures from Perseverance have been so messed up. That's the new rover, that I've just completely lost my appetite for even trying to do anything with those pictures. They're just terrible, and I don't feel like spending all day trying to make one picture clear. Give me a break. They can't give us a clear picture of that. People just bite off on it. Oh, that's what it looks like. Oh, it's orange. Everything's orange up there. Anyway, I've been spending too much time talking about NASA. We all know everything about NASA. I don't need to talk about it anymore. Each of these rows has so many buildings in it, reaching up to the edge. Now, we're going to talk about lakes. And, this is a picture that every single time NASA goes out of their way to talk about something, that means you've got a problem. Okay, they call this Titan's Lake District one season later. I'm going to read this to you. I hope I make it. These images obtained by NASA Cassini spacecraft show, I'm not going to make it, Titan's stable northern lake district. Okay? It's all about the lakes. Yeah, I knew I wouldn't make it, so whatever. They're just talking about the lakes, right? This is what Titan has. This is the season for their lakes, right? So when we go in closer to look at the area between the lakes, we can see a lot of buildings. And when we look at the dark areas that are supposed to be the lakes, they don't really look like lakes, do they? And the reason they don't is because they're not lakes, because they're lying again. Here I go, talking about NASA. It's just like Mars. They talked about the dunes on Mars. They had to talk about the dunes on Mars because they were in every picture. And the same thing is true here on Titan, I suspect. There's so many pictures with what look like lakes, they had to talk about the lakes, right? But, they're absolutely not lakes. And they would they could do so much better by just ignoring them and not talking about them because people like me come along and say, hey, you're lying. We're sick of the lying. It's time for some truth in this country. Some clear, unequivocal, I can't say it, truth. We just need some truth. No more lies. I'm talking about everything. Look at these white structures in here. It's a pretty clear picture. Just like everywhere else, there's thousands, millions of buildings, way more than thousands. Fortunately, we have another picture of some more lakes, and this is called Lakes and More Lakes. So these lakes look much more organic, shall we say. They do look a lot more like lakes. So when we go in on them, we'll be able to see right away. And one of the things you want to notice, I mentioned this in the Venus video, you see this grainy surface all the time, this grainy, gravelly looking pictures, and the reason for that is all of that granular looking stuff is structures. And guess what? Here we are in the land of lakes and more lakes, and we have the same granular surface in the lakes, and they're obviously not lakes. Again, it's just dark buildings. No matter how organic these so-called lakes looked, I suppose maybe it's camouflage. I don't know. Who knows? There's just so many people living there and everywhere else in the solar system, and we just keep looking out beyond the solar system for life, and everything's right under our noses. Thanks for watching, everyone. See you soon.